This is Sean Hennon, writer of episode 920, Caelum Bank. You're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
And now we know why digital media is better than physical media. Welcome back to the award-winning The Blacklist Exposed podcast. Greetings, one and all. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Eric Peterson. And that was my to Troy. Because now we know why physical is better than digital. Because all of Gramercy's clients no longer have their money, and I still got my Blu-rays, sucker. Thanks for joining us yet again for number 169 on the Blacklist Caelum Bank, written by Sean Hennon and directed by Court Hessler, who is the stunt coordinator, for Blacklist as well. Show notes and other intel for this episode of the Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
I believe Court's also directing the finale.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that. Well, congratulations to Court. Good for him.
So look for that in 2 weeks.
That's coming soon, right?
So what's going to happen for the next 2 weeks now that we have all the answers? Chase Marvin for 2 weeks?
Yeah, we're going to be chasing Marvin for 2 weeks for sure. That's going to happen.
Oh my gosh. How are we feeling after we pretty much figured this out weeks ago?
12 weeks ago or something? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't really a surprise, was it? I say we wait until we break it down, and then we'll kind of go through the reasoning. I think that will make a difference, because I know one issue we both have is the placement of some of the details.
Yes, correct. Okay. Yeah, and I think it's a little raw, so we'll get into the usual stuff, and then
still enjoyed the episode though.
Oh yeah,
it's rather straightforward, but I enjoyed it.
I think every single episode this year has been great television. It's just
go easy on that one, but
it just doesn't feel like the Blacklist is the issue.
We'll get there.
But first, if you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you've been here a while, you know that we do our profiling question of the week, and then we move into the case profile where we break down this week's episode for Caelum Bank, and then, of course, hear from all of you, the special agents in our special agent intel. And so we asked you last week, where are you on Marvin being the big bad? Are you 100% confident, 25% confident? What were the numbers, Aaron, and how close were they?
So the numbers were 100%. That Marvin was the big bad. 20% of you felt that way. So congratulations to us. I'm just happy I got this one right. I've gotten a few wrong along the way. 75%, about 40% of the audience were about 75% confident. 25% of the audience were about 50% confident, and 15% of the audience were about 25% confident. So there's a lot of people that did not necessarily believe that Marvin Gerard was the big bad, and I get it. I mean, he's kind of, in stature terms, he's kind of a meek man. Like, he's a small man. He's not very big. He's not very foreboding. He's not very imposing. But, smarts usually trump muscle. I hate to break it to you.
Right. Like Somo DeBasso said, that she's not so confident, or he's not so confident. Somo's not so confident. That he barely has what it takes because it's a charade.
Well,
or charade. I heard it both ways.
I've heard it both ways. He said, some truth there. He said some truth. But he's done it. He has made it happen. And we'll get to the reasons why in a minute. But Alice Peterson also said she has 25% confidence Marvin Gerard is a big bad. He's a criminal attorney, and that's different than a hitman hiring big bad. How could he stage a heist? The Montenegro safe? Who is giving him inside intel on the task force? Why does he want to take Red now versus the 2 years he was AWOL? Where was it established he knew about Doug Coster, et cetera, et cetera? There's some good questions, and we're going to come back to some of that.
We sure are. What should we ask the audience for next week?
That's a good question. Is Weecha and Mirza involved? Because I still say they are. Even with that fainting incident, I still say Mirza at least is involved.
Like, you're like, okay, Mirza, you're going to stand by the window. I'm going to point a laser at you, but it's just a laser. It's not actually a gun.
Yes, that's what I think.
That's what you think. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, are the sisters involved with Marvin Gerard?
There we go.
Yay or nay?
I say yay.
Well, we'll find out. We got 2 weeks left.
What do you say? Hey, draw a line, man. Draw a line.
After what we saw this week, I say no.
Okay.
So Team Troy, Team Aaron for classics, for classic stands.
I see why you would say that, but I go back to the episode where Kaplan's sister was killed, and we didn't see anything in that building. We only saw it from Red's point of view, and as we saw in this episode, this was a perfect demonstration of TV 101 because Heddie was fine.
It's true. It was very true. Before Marvin's panic timer expires, let's go ahead and get to this week's case profile.
I got to get one of those panic buttons too, by the way. Just like you push
Troy's
a button.
hurting me again.
Yeah. Get the red light on his house. All right, so we open with a money launderer who moves money to bonds and eventually digitally. Because nobody can rob a bank that's always on the move, right? It's a great idea. Except if you own physical media, you still own it when the internet goes down. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Anyway.
And except that we already seen a plane in the sky for frozen people in the show.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a retread.
There's a lot of planes there. Well, I mean, when you have this many episodes, you're going to get a couple of retreads, don't you think?
Sure.
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, could we have made it a submarine? It would have been more fun.
That kind of would have been cool. Yeah, submarine. I like it. Protect our portfolios with your life. He runs his business out of the plane like you talked about, complete with a cooled server farm in the back. That was kind of interesting. I like that addition to it.
A literally cool server farm because he had to wear that parka because,
yeah.
I mean, he always keeps the server room's like chillier, but this was more like I'm going into the meat locker to go get food.
It was a little bit too cold, I would say.
The only thing I could think of was that it was like in a part of a plane that maybe wasn't insulated, and that's why it was that cold, but it was a pretty big jacket.
It was a pretty heavy jacket. It looked like he was going on an Alaskan safari. All right, so Caelum Bank, that's the name of this bank. Heaven's Vault.
What the hell is an Alaskan safari?
I don't know. I just made that up.
A dog sled race I could get.
There you go. I'm trying to combine areas of the country or the world. That's what I'm trying to do. So an Alaskan safari. I love Alaska. I don't like safaris. So I just, I mesh the two together.
We just watched the lions chatter their teeth the whole time.
How do we get zoos? It's really just a zoo that, where they broke out.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, you want me to go on a tangent on how much I don't like zoos? Because I'll do it. I'll go for hours. I hate them.
We know. I think it's been on here a few times.
Has it? Good. Because I've still never taken my children to the zoo, and I'm proud of it. All right. So Caelum Bank is Heaven's Vault, as I said. That's how Red refers to it, and it's run by Harris Gramercy. Now, he's a man with a good plan where basically you give me all your financial, well, I'll control your money from the sky. Nobody can get to it because I'm always moving. I'm always on the go. But once it's digitally, does it really matter? I mean, it's out. If it's digital currency, or is it just digital portfolios?
I think it's just digital portfolios. So that way so it's not actually like cash or bonds in a safe deposit box. Yeah.
It's not Bitcoin. Yeah. He controls the information from the sky, so nobody can really get to him unless his plane crashes, and then you're screwed.
Right. All your money's gone.
All your money's gone. Maybe not a great plan, but it's cool. Cool is what matters.
Where's the backup that transmits to the submarine? That's what we want to know.
It's funny. So Red needs the details because the bank needs to be accessed. Someone paid for the deaths of several people, including LaCroix and Cole, and then framed Harold Cooper, and of course, set up Liz. By the way, 463209, just in case you want to try and hack Red's accounts, 463209. Go ahead and have a nice time. Get as much money as you can before that plane crashes. Red wants to know who accessed the money. Obviously, this is all he wants to know. This is the most important question, right? Because whoever accessed that account is who had Liz killed, essentially, is what this season is saying. And
what a convenient piece of writing here, right? When they were like, well, it was a petty cash account, so pretty much anybody in the entire organization could have withdrawn money from that account. So trying to throw us off the trail of Marvin Gerard by saying, oh, could have been, which I forget which one died, Morgan or Chuck, but one of them could have done it, or Heddie could have done it, or any number of people could have done it, except for Marvin. Wink, wink.
Were you ever swayed that it was Heddie? Or were you hoping it was Heddie?
Hell no. Come on.
Okay.
She's feeding a bunch of toucans and parrots in her condo in Miami. She's not a mastermind.
By the way, those birds are probably starving right now, right?
They are. They were like, wait, we only got one strawberry. Where's Mom?
Brings a whole new meaning to Starvin' Marvin. Okay, so Connect the dots.
No, just no.
Well, Aram gets the plane essentially grounded based on Title II of Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention Act, which, yep, that's a real thing. And just to give you some info, in case you were wondering, Title II, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, gives them a whole assortment of abilities, including they can career service, reserve service, mandatory separation age, use of translators. It's like it covers the FBI basically to do whatever they want to prevent terrorism.
All right.
Just so you know, fun fact.
History lesson from the criminal justice major.
There you go. Not that you ever needed to know, but it happened. Good deal. That's back when the U.S. government used to get things done for the last 6 years. All right, Red and Gramercy find themselves.
Does this act now give them the ability to come after us? Because you just said that. I'm just want to make sure.
If they choose to, never make a mistake. The government can come after you anytime they want, if they really, really want to.
True statement.
It's a true statement. All right, Red and Gramercy find themselves arrested. This is an interesting plan. And Red offers to get them out if Harris gives out the name of the person who took Redmond Reddington's money. What? That's your alias? That's what you came up with? Redmond Reddington. Okay. At first, I thought, did somebody misspeak? Did we just say the line wrong or what? But yeah, that's the alias, I guess.
That whole scene was funny and damn ridiculous at the same time.
What did you find ridiculous about it?
I know you. You're Raymond Reddington. What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
And then kept saying Redmond Reddington.
Reddington.
It's the same name
Reddington?
almost.
It's like something you say when you're put on the spot and you can't come up with something good. You're just blah 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 Reddington.
I like baseball.
I mean, you could just go I'm Steve Homan.
Yeah.
Use one of his aliases that already exists.
Well, Red shoots Harris Gramercy for the information and he gets it. So the guy, I'm a man of my word, unless I'm hurting, and then I'll give it up pretty quick. And apparently he never wonders how Red got a gun in. That should have been the first. As soon as he got shot, he should have went, you working with the FBI? But instead he puts it in his mind that apparently it's a fake FBI.
Right. Instead of actually believing it's the FBI, it immediately goes to, it's got to be a fake FBI.
We go to the crazier extreme, but the guy's shot. I'll give him a pass.
Yeah, I like the guy. He understands me.
Hey, he's honorable. I respect the guy who's honorable. He says something and he sticks to it, unless you shoot him. Chicken. So Red gets the information. And apparently it's Heddie Hawkins. What? Yeah. So Gramercy dies.
And at this point in the episode, you're going it's like the Smokey Putnam episode. Okay, move it on.
No, I'm thinking red herring, and I'm thinking Marvin Gerard sent her or convinced her to go get the money. That's what I'm thinking.
You're thinking it's a red heading? What?
Oh, God, son of a bitch. Yeah. Yep. Walked right into that. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's a red heading. All right. Well, like I said, Gramercy dies. So now I would say Red probably has a whole new group of enemies for next season, right?
For sure.
Because they all lost their money and they kind of know it was Reddington, Wellington's, whatever the hell his name is, his fault.
I like that he came back to use it again. It's they're not going to find me. They're going to look for Raymond Reddington. It just gets so dumb every time you say it.
So silly. Nobody's going to put that together. Redmond Reddington sounds a lot like Raymond Reddington. You think it's the same guy? I don't know. He just said it was a guy who wore a hat a lot. Couldn't be him.
No.
Well, they get to Heddie. Well, Dembe actually gets there first. Good on Dembe. And then Red stalls on the phone to basically crash into the car and takes Heddie.
Which actually was kind of a cool sequence, I have to say.
It was a cool sequence, except for the science behind it. Because I'm they got there after Dembe and Wrestler. So how did they catch up? I would assume Dembe and Wrestler were already going as fast as they could. And so how do they get around to where they would crash them in the side? Logistically, I understand it's a TV show, let it go, but logistically it doesn't make sense.
Well, see,
drives me nuts.
They left downtown on the main highway and Dembe and Wrestler left it and they went around on the bypass.
Mm-hmm.
And then Weecha and Red, they came on the main highway that cuts right through town on the diagonal. So, A squared plus B squared equals C squared and all that stuff. That's how it happens.
It must be that new math, because it doesn't make any damn sense. But it's still a cool sequence, and that's what matters. It's TV, right? So, boom, we move on.
I'm surprised he just rammed him like that, though. Like,
or we don't. We stay on the same thing.
Don't you love Dembe a little bit? Like, you're willing to kill Dembe to get to... Well, you're willing to kill the person you want to get to? Like, what happens if the car flips over and she dies?
He literally came in on Rustler's side. I don't think he cares if he kills Rustler.
This is a true statement.
Yeah. So... And I'm sure that was planned too. It was
came in hot.
Very articulate how they had this elaborate kidnapping. Anyway, so we find out a little bit later that, or from Marvin Gerard actually brings in Mickey, an arms dealer, who said that Heddie came to him looking for a better job. She admits to that, but says that she had nothing to do with Liz. Her death was a ruse to flush out Marvin Gerard. That's what that was. So once again, I'm pointing to when you don't see things happen on screen, they didn't happen the way that you think they did. It's TV 101. And I hate to say it, but this whole arc has been a lot of TV 101. So I will say, I think Weecha and Mirza are probably involved in some way, shape, or form. Because remember, they came into the game after Liz's death. They were never part of this before that. So it's very theoretically possible that they were working for Marvin Gerard. It's possible.
Yeah, Marvin hired him to basically say, hey, could you take care of Red, make sure he feels better, keep an eye on him so the business keeps running. I'll take care of the business. You guys take care of him.
And I'm thinking why Mirza left is because she wanted, because remember, she was very adamant that Reggie needed to stop looking, let this go, da-da-da-da. That's why. Because maybe she did come to love him and whatnot, but on the same token, needs him to stop because eventually he's going to find out that they were involved.
Well, and I think at the same time, too...
That she was involved, specifically.
What Marvin said is actually factual and true. Like, he didn't do it to gain power. He didn't do it to, own the business. He did it to basically keep the one thing he had in his life going, which was his relationship with Red. He didn't say, I'm doing this because you had Teddy kick me in the balls. He's not like doing this out of retribution or revenge.
It feels like a better reason to me, because if you kicked me in the balls, I would probably plan on taking over your whole operation.
I agree, 100%. But that's not why he did this. He did this because he was trying to save the business, because he knew how to run the business better than Liz.
You know what? He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
She would have been wishy-washy. We know that, right? She would have flip-flopped major decisions all the time. Take that cartel out. No, let them stay. I can't decide.
She'd be sitting there in the place in Latvia or Lithuania, wherever it was, where the bunker was, and just be like rolling her eyes as new information came in.
Old Liz jokes. Well, it's still very pertinent to the series, so here we go.
I thought for sure when Raymond was like, I remembered what shirt she was wearing, and I thought for sure we were going to get another flashback.
Oh, it'll happen before the season's over. It'll be in the finale. We'll get another one.
So
we will.
Just so we can keep someone shot her from the front because the bullet wound was smaller in the front and it's bigger in the back. Oh, I love those people.
That was, there's been a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
Where suddenly they're coroners. They're forensic specialists. Well, here's what the size of the hole would be. It was just blood on a shirt, man. They didn't show the explosion.
Right.
So it's what it is.
The hole is actually bigger underneath the sweater. It was just that it has to seep into the sweater and then grow as it absorbs the blood.
It's just wild. Just wild. But hey, that's why people love the show, right? So they can obsess over certain things.
Right.
So we do flesh out Marvin Gerard, as you said. And basically what he says was he never did what he did as someone who protected Red. He's done that for so long. He did it to protect Red, but he never said that he would protect Liz Keene and her taking over the operation over his dead body. Careful what you say. That felt like a poor choice of words. That was was very much like the Joker in Dark Knight. Poor choice of words. Let her go. That's how I felt like when he said that. I'm like, that's a dumb thing to say.
It was funny, but a dumb thing to say.
It was pretty funny. Yeah. So he did whatever he could to slow Red down, and nothing slowed him down. My life is Raymond Reddington. And the reason that they faked Heddie's death is they wanted Marvin Gerard to feel safe to flush him out. But he, of course, hit the panic button. He's got Mirza. That's his backup. Weecha hits him and then also quickly basically passes out as Marvin Gerard is trying to escape. See, once again, I'm trying to illustrate this is why I think they are in cahoots.
But she didn't pass out immediately. It was a couple seconds later.
But while he was off the plane making the escape.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying it's all connected.
It's a diversion.
I think so.
Okay.
And he says, you show me the way. May the best man win, old friend.
I think that's a great line, though. The old friend.
I love that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that line. So now let's talk about Marvin Gerard. Let's just, I know we go into characters, but this is all about what the story's about for this episode. So we've come to the conclusion. I think you and I have talked about this for weeks and weeks that we've thought it was Marvin Gerard. We have for a long time. We said
it was either Marvin or an unknown player.
I said very clearly I thought it was Marvin Gerard. I said that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Go listen to the tapes. I got it on Twitter, too. You want some tweets? I'll send you some tweets. But what I would like to know is, now that you've heard the motivation, what do you think about that? And keep in mind, a big portion of the motivation was the headache incident. Now, this is where I think you and I have an issue with the details. Please explain.
I like Marvin Gerard being the big bad, being behind all of this. I like the explanation, that he was going to let the Empire go to Liz over Marvin's dead body because Marvin's the one that was been his right hand since Kaplan moved along. Since we still don't know if she's actually dead or not, but
jeez, don't feed that. Don't you dare, you son of a.
But
I hate you.
The thing that bothers me about the reveal is the fact that they wrote the headache scene in his office and then to give Liz the pills. Like they wrote that in, we call it as a term of convenience for the story to make sense in this moment. It would have been great had that office sequence actually been shot as part of the finale of season 8, where they go to Marvin, they actually do the document sign over. She drops the coffee cup. He gives her the pills. Like that would have shown the connectiveness of the entire thing. And that would have made this go like, oh, snap, versus like, oh, of course.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm with you. The motivation, it's a little stretch for me, but I mean, okay, it's also TV. You gotta let some things go. But I agree with you 100%. There, two major points are not part of the actual finale. Well, actually, three major points. Dembe and Liz having coffee or whatever they were doing. Remember they had that conversation where Dembe gave
her the letter.
Gave her the letter. We never saw that happen in the finale. And we never saw this incident where she has a headache and was given aspirin, It wasn't, this is all like constructed in this season to give this season purpose. And that's what bothers me about it. It wasn't anything from the actual finale they tried to connect it to how things happen, but nothing that actually connected it was actually in the finale, which makes it very clear to me that this was never part of the plan. This was the plan after the plan.
Correct.
After John Bokenkamp left the show, this was the plan to still keep Liz involved, the Liz connection involved, keep Red motivated in regards to Liz, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, because I mean, even in the finale, if you could have had like Dembe and Liz sitting in the cafe, like Liz could have been like doing, well, Dembe, what do you think? Should I kill him? Should I take over the business? I'm coming to you as a friend in confidence. Never have to see the letter.
Could have been like a Rocky flashback or something, like a montage video. I don't care. There's a lot of her walking around and thinking and stuff. So you could have added that in there. Like she was talking to Dembe at that time. And then this connection could have been made this season. Would have been like, oh, okay, cool. Much, much better. But when you introduce everything in this season, it just makes it very clear that this was never part of the plan.
Right. And for some shows that works, right? That's how procedurals typically work. Like it makes the season, I hate to use the word convenient, but it's basically that you're writing the things that you need to write in order to make the finale stick, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's good television. There's lots of TV shows that have done that for years. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue we have is that from the Blacklist perspective, where you have this deep mythology for 8 years, like you'd like to see this stuff be connected to the rest of what we've already seen.
And typically it has been.
I mean, all the way from like I mean, yes, there's still some people that don't believe that Red is Katarina, even though there was a sequence in this episode this week that also hinted to it again.
Which one? Please explain, because I don't.
When he was on the plane and he was telling Marvin about, like, I can remember her clothes, I can remember what she drank, and da-da-da. I remember how when she finally understood, when she looked at me in her last moment, like, go back and watch the flashback at that moment. You'll understand what the answer is.
Yes, very much so. And I feel like the show is not trying to deviate from that result either.
No, they're not. And but it's like when you think back to the whole, like, everything about me is a lie. Smells like Dad's Wagoneer, and then the Wagoneers and Dom's, like, all of that stuff is like over many seasons there were clues laid out the entire time, right? This feels like there wasn't a single thing that was a clue where you can go back and go, oh yeah, you remember in season 4 when Marvin did this, or you remember back in the Marvin Gerard episode where there was this. Like, that's the part that's been missing this season for the Blacklist.
Agreed. Because in my mind, part of me is if you're going to start the whole show over and basically reboot it, which is essentially what the season was supposed to be, right? Because Liz is gone and da-da-da-da. Then reboot it. We don't need to have everything connect to that moment unless you have a real connection. I mean, yeah, I just, I don't like how they did it. I mean, I get kind of why they did it, and I don't have a problem with Marvin Gerard. I actually like Marvin Gerard being the guy. Like you said, it's just a matter of how the pieces go together.
Yeah, because Fisher Stevens is a great actor. Like, if you're going to make him big bad, let's give him the screen time to make him the big bad. Let's not just do it in a one conversation on a plane and then we never see him again either. That just kind of robs Fisher Stevens of the way. Yeah,
well, he's got at least 2 episodes to really flesh it out, right? Because I know that there'll be a part 1 and a part 2 of this. So there you go. He's got a little bit of time, and you can almost guarantee he's probably going to die at the end.
Probably, and I bet you it'll be Marvin Gerard conclusion now for the finale.
Oh, I'm sure. But you know what? We got a little bit of character stuff to get into, so let's get into that, and then we'll move into some.
You know what that does, though, too, is it conveniently leaves, I think it was like number 3 is still open on the top of the chart.
It's probably going to be Marvin Gerard, I would guess.
Well, no, Marvin Gerard already has a number because there was already an episode for Marvin. I think he's 10.
Oh, is he?
He's
okay. No, you remember the numbers better.
I don't remember the exact number, but I know he's already on the blacklist with a number. So this still gives them number 3 that they can leave open for next year.
Let me go find Pepe's shirt.
Exactly right. let me go get my T-shirt out of the drawer. It wasn't a bad episode. It's not a bad reveal. It's just like, okay, we're back to like TV 101 versus like exciting, serialized streaming type television series.
And I found the number. It is number 80, actually.
Well, I was off because 10 was Dembe.
Yeah, you're way off, but he's number 80.
How about we just pretend like we just say like, Troy was right. He knew that Marvin was on the blacklist previously.
Hey, you are right. You're just way off on the number, but you were 100% right because I totally forgot that.
1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1.
Yep, there you go. There you go. 1 plus 1 plus 2.
New math is 80. Hard.
You're not very good at it. I'm just saying. But anyway, let's go into some character stuff.
I knew old math. I got a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Jesus. Characters, music. Let's go.
All right. At the end of the episode, when Marvin is on the plane with Red and they're having their chats, we hear Child in Time by Deep Purple. And you can hear that and all the other songs from the Blacklist over on the playlist, both for Apple and Spotify. You can get those over on our website at theblacklistexposed.com. Make sure you subscribe. There's 9 years of great music out there.
There's a lot of great music. And when I read the format, I thought it said Sweet Child of Mine. I don't know. We do this very early in the morning. And I was like, where was Guns N' Roses in this show? I'm like, Sweet Child of Mine. I didn't hear that. So it's because it wasn't there.
That's right.
One more thing I got wrong. All right. Well, character stuff, a lot of the character moments were actually embedded into the overall plot, but Dembe, Red, brings him into the plan or his plan. And then Dembe and Red go against each other as Red is blinded by anger. So I guess what I want to ask is, whose side of that Heddie debate did you end up on? Did you think Red or Dembe and Wrestler should have her, or did you trust more that Red could take care of it? Where do you land?
In that moment, I was still on the Wrestler and Dembe side because I don't think Red put 2 and 2 together until Marvin brought the dude in and Heddie was like, I just wanted a new job. And I think that's when Red goes, oh yeah, Heddie's not behind this. It's actually Marvin that's behind this. Because he knew ahead of time, obviously, because that's why he didn't kill her in the back room.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Or maybe he figured it out earlier and he went to go get Heddie specifically just so he can use Heddie to flesh out Marvin.
No, I think remember, he said up until Park had her headache. So that's also a little convenient plotting.
Right.
Park has a migraine right there for no reason whatsoever. There's barely even any stress, but it's her condition. Now,
because in that moment, I'm like, and we could just jump to Park right away, I guess, if you want. But like,
well, I didn't want to, but now we are, I guess. Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
Park comes in and goes, the FBI doesn't want me. I want to come work for you. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. That's a cool season 10 twist. Like, I'm all up for that. Like, let's see Park work for Red and be the new Weecha. Like, sure, I'm on board to see that actually go down. And then it was just really a convenient plot point for the headache.
It was so randomly plotted. It was just like, I want a job. I can't give you a job. Yeah, you can't count on you. All right. Well, I got a headache. Oh, Red's like, oh. So far, I thought it was genuine concern, but actually, it was him solving clue.
Well, at first, I thought he drugged her because he gave her the drink. So I was like, I thought for sure that Red slipped something in her drink. So
you didn't know that she had a headache issue? You forgot?
Well, I knew she had a headache issue, but the way she acted was after she drank out of the cup.
Oh, I gotcha.
So I thought he was like going to drug her and send her on her way back to the FBI.
Yeah, wild. Well, she's back at the FBI and now she feels much better because she did a good job with her desk job. She actually can find some information because she finds info at the LaCroix wedding that the best man was Marvin Gerard and nobody else knew this. What? How's that a surprise to anyone? Who has been a best man at a wedding that hasn't been captured on Facebook somewhere? That feels like a stretch. But thank you, Park, because desk jobs do save the world.
That's right.
So there we go.
This is why you don't want those old DVDs floating around anywhere.
It just feels like this episode was, all right, we need to throw in a bunch of clues. Let's make them work. Let's go, guys. Go team. It's kind of funny.
Damn ridiculous as it is at times, at least the clues do make sense.
Hey, adds up, adds up. And again, like the episode, I'm just saying some of the plotting was like, okay. I mean,
I believe it.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of those moments from like, okay.
I spent 3 hours of my life watching TV. I understand what's going on. I'm good.
Well, I'm glad.
So much TV.
I'm sure next season, Park will probably have some experimental treatment that will fix her headaches, but it'll make her more indebted to Red.
Sure.
Yeah, that's probably what'll happen. So, Cooper, Mrs. LaCroix's murder tells Cooper that he was also supposed to, tells Cooper that he was supposed to burn their house down and start it by the lawyer's desk. So they, of course, go back to that desk and they find a disc with payment details that lead to 2 lawyers. And those lawyers, by the way, they turn quicker than anybody I've ever seen in any cop show ever. They just brought them in. You know what? We're lawyers. We know how this works. Give us immunity. We'll tell you everything we know. Done.
They're like, we're screwed anyway, so.
Yep. But the name that they needed was Claudius. That's the name. They need to know who Claudius is because Claudius was working with them to force settlements and they pocketed the money. And that should have been a clue to other people that it was probably a lawyer.
Right. And I love the name. I love that they use Claudius as the name, right? Because that goes back to the Hamlet days. Because King Claudius was the main antagonist in the story. Because Hamlet was supposed to be king and Claudius ends up becoming king. If my Hamlet is fresh in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, Claudius is also a Roman emperor, right?
Sure.
Like legit. So it could just mean the Roman emperor.
But I would assume it'd be more on the Hamlet side. Just the betrayal and you took over something that wasn't yours.
Shakespearean tragedy that the Blacklist is?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I understand.
Still trying to make it work.
You try every season. I admire you. Wrestler didn't do much except get hit by a car and walked it off, by the way. I didn't see any implication that Wrestler or Dembe were injured in any way, shape, or form. Although Cooper said you almost killed Wrestler, I think he was fine.
I mean, I think we've seen in some other television shows recently on Netflix where car crashes don't kill anybody either.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Stupid Ozark. All right.
Cars are made so much better today.
So, let's see. Aram, I will say he's really stepping into his leadership role, except he really needs to quit saying he has to follow protocols because it's getting old. I mean, you're the boss. Stop telling people you have to be the boss.
I'm only doing this because it's the law.
Yeah, you're doing it because you're supposed to do it, jackass. Just say that. We're all good. A Ram, not a Mir. I like Mir. He's very nice.
I told you no. That's how that works.
Yes, exactly. You are stuck here. Why? Because you can't go into the field without having a headache when it really, really helps the plot. Nothing? I thought that was pretty funny, but I guess just in my head. All right, so we end with Weecha passing out. We talked about that. Mirza was supposed to be putting together a fire ceremony.
Right, cleansing the trailer or something.
Yeah.
So was the point of the shot in writing this in was to show that she was still at the trailer?
Which part?
So that she could set up the sniper?
So they could set up that she was still there, so they could set up the sniper.
Yeah, because I was like, do we really need to see the fire ceremony? Like, it was at first it's like a weird cutaway, and then you're like, is this just filmed for the cutaway? And then you come back and you're like, oh, it was trying to establish location and
exactly that she's there. Yep. And then we get to Red. I've experienced hostage situations less intense than this trailer. That was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
Pretty funny bit. What I do think is my favorite moment of the episode, which is what you were kind of alluding to, is Red tells Dembe a long-ass story about pirates in Madagascar, but it's all a ruse to stall and get caught up and crash into their car. That was pretty funny. That was very clever.
Especially when Dembe's like, I don't understand what the point of this is.
Yeah. It's like, this is another one of your stories, but I usually get a point. There's no point here. Boosh. Got it. So anyway, you kind of talked about it, but he also says, I remember the last day of Liz's life better than anything else, basically, in his life. But he forgot about the headache. Liz had a headache. She had a coffee.
We had tea.
And he had tea. And you gave her aspirin. Basically put that tracker in her right in front of Red. Dun, dun, dun. And then apparently called in Van Dyke.
Yeah, that's the part that's still open.
Because I do want to say, Van Dyke would have also wanted to kill Red, so that's kind of a dumb plan if your plan is to only kill Liz.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the tracker ended up becoming found, and then they kind of put the pieces together. I think Van Dyke might not have actually been part of the equation, and Van Dyke was still following Liz no matter what, from the Townsend perspective. I
don't think so. I think he was the assassin, and maybe, Marvin talked him into that it was all Liz's fault or something. I don't know. That's, that's the only thing that really kind of makes sense to me. I mean, he would have had to bring Van Dyke into it for Van Dyke to have killed Liz using that tracker of based on this season's scenario. Based on the plotting of where his whereabouts were and where the tracker was and how they lined up in the green and red dots. I mean, yeah. I mean, I could see a situation where Townsend is dead. Van Dyke works for the highest bidder. If Marvin comes back and says, "Hey, he's a merc." Yeah, I'll take your cash, Marvin. I don't like Red anyway. And Marvin's like, but don't kill Red. But remember, Van Dyke actually did raise the gun to go kill Red too in that final shot. So that's remember. That's the thing is was Van Dyke going to act on his own, even though Marvin told him not to shoot him? Well, I feel like the entire scenario for this season was concocted because so many fans said, how did Van Dyke find Red? At the end of last season, how did Van Dyke? And this is the answer to that question. So that is one connection, I guess. Sure. You can reach out to. But I do think if Marvin really felt that was the case, why wouldn't he hire someone completely random? Why would he hire Van Dyke? Correct. Because then he would have been like, who's the masked man? Exactly. Who's behind the masked man? Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, well, that's it for this episode. We've got the next two episodes, man, the finale and the finale conclusion. By the way, I won't be here for next week's episode because I actually have a work trip that goes right into a backpacking trip. So I will be gone for 5 days. So Rory is coming back. So look forward to that. And that means the episode will be out probably a day late, just so everybody's aware. So you're blaming that on Rory? Is that what you're trying to say? I can't help it if Rory works a different schedule than us. The man's got to make a living, right? He's got to eat. It's true. Fair enough. He's doing us a favor. I will be back for the finale, though. So we've got special agent intel where we want to make a correction to last week's episode, so hold tight. But first, we want to take a second and say thank you to those of you that are supporting the show by going to Patreon. That's Patreon, patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Special big thanks to our honorary blacklister, Patricia. Also, a special shout out to our task force members, Marilyn, Cindy, James, Jens, Joanne, Johnny, Justin, Karen, Catherine, Sharon, and Lacey Ann and Vanessa, all official task force members. All those people get cool gifts from us, and you can get one as well for donating at the $20 level or higher. If you want a cool t-shirt or a coffee mug, you don't have to stay at that level forever, just a few months to get the cool gifts, and it helps us out in the process because we fund the show from our pockets.
That's right. And if you're a $5 donor, then you can obviously get the episode before anybody else. That's right. You get the special sneak peek early on to get all of the laughs, jokes, humor, and everything that we do here over on the Blacklist Exposed. So if you want to be a $5 or $20 member, head on over to Patreon. That's Patreon, patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Go ahead and drop some money in the fedora, and we'll be back with your special agent intel and our retraction right after this.
What if you could live your life without limits, where every desire you ever imagined could be fulfilled? Experience Westworld, a show where every human's dark side will be revealed. After watching each episode, listen to Beyond Westworld, a podcast featuring humans and hosts from around the park, diving deep into HBO's illustrative narrative. Every hero has a code, and so do you. Download your itinerary and the show at beyondwestworldpodcast.com or your podcast app of choice.
Hi, it's Megan Boone, and you're listening to Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
All right, Special Agent Intel. So, Brett Walzer, Aaron and Troy, you joked about getting tickets for Amir's Broadway show, but maybe we could plan a Blacklist Exposed group outing, go see the show one night this summer, and go have wine at Pasquale's, where they filmed Liz's death. Ooh.
That does sound like
this.
fun, actually.
You willing to do a GoFundMe, Brett?
Yeah, because here's the problem. Y'all need to go to Patreon, patreon.com/theblacklistgsm, because this came out yesterday. I saw this, and I was just like flabbergasted. But airline fares, 18.6% increase since April.
It's insane, man.
It's insane. On average, a ticket costs 33.3% more than it did last year, and that's the largest 12-month rise since 1980.
Did I tell you what happened with airplane tickets? Because I travel quite a bit for work and whatnot. And I also travel quite a bit for personal, as you guys notice when I'm gone and Rory shows up. Sorry, Rory. I like that now. But I'm going to Alaska again. I went to Alaska last year, and I'm going on again this year with a buddy of mine. And you go out of Seattle. The cruise leaves out of Seattle, and you fly from O'Hare to Seattle. And I've gone from Chicago to Seattle. Yeah. And I've done this trip. I've gone to Seattle for work and whatnot, probably like 50 times in the last 10 years. It's always $250, $300 maximum. So we booked the cruise, and I'm like, well, I'm going to book my airline ticket. This is at the end of last year, and it was like $329. Well, my cheap ass says, you know what? I'm going to wait because I know it always comes down to about $250, $280, somewhere like that. I'll save the $50. Well, I waited, and it was up to like $550 a couple months ago. And it's been steadily increasing, and I've bought a lot of other tickets where I saw the prices increasing. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to lock it in just because I don't want to have to, just in case. And I got a refundable, so if it dropped, then I just cancel and rebook. Well, now that same ticket is like $750. It keeps going up. That is double what it was at the end of last year, which is insane, and I've never seen happen. And I've traveled for 20 years. Same.
Like for all the times I've been out to LA, it's just like $250, $300 to fly into Santa Ana, right, in Orange County. And I looked today, like if I was going to go in June to visit my friends when I normally go, $560 on average, right? The cheapest I saw was like $420.
And no, it's not fuel pricing.
No,
it's not fuel pricing. It is very much price gouging.
Price gouging, make up for the losses.
Make up for the losses. Yep, that's what it is.
Yep.
My opinion, but I'm telling you, that's what happened. All right, so go ahead and kick in the Patreon, and we'll see what happens, Brett. I mean, it's expensive outing. We'd love to do it.
I love the idea.
It's a great idea. Great idea. Monica says, okay, to me, the paper airplanes from last week represent the time Aram was playing with Agnes with paper airplanes. Liz showed up and took Agnes and Aram, didn't stop her. If he had stopped her, she would be alive. The avocados represent his failure in his business venture. And, of course, the ring was Samar. Monica, well, two things. One, yes. Troy actually said that. So actually, Troy is the one that was wrong, but I didn't stop him. So I'm on board.
Yeah, you're just playing the part of Aram for the week.
I totally spaced that out. I totally forgot about that. But as soon as because man, we put the episode out and we got attacked on that one. Don't you know that the paper airplanes were actually from that episode? And well, now that you mention it, sure. Yeah. And it came racing back. So yes, we made a mistake and we are owning up to it. That was our mistake, but really mostly Troy's.
I was remembering the floor is lava. I much prefer that game over paper airplanes into a trash can.
But it was a very cute moment, especially once you remember it. Love that. Next to you.
Rick Jabanoski said, this episode was terrible. I hate to say it, but this show is really floundering now. That's in reference to last week's episode, not this week's.
Amir's? I thought that was, man, I saw very mixed reviews on this one. People loved it or hated it, and I'm sure it's because it's a very trippy episode, so it's whatever you thought of that aspect of it. Yeah. I really liked it. I liked how they kind of presented mental health and whatnot, and I thought Amir did a really, really good job, so I liked it.
I thought it was good. And it's good to see Samar back, too.
And it was nice to see something a little different, you know?
For sure.
A little change. I like when shows do that. No musical episodes. If Blacklist is a musical episode, I'm out. Completely out.
The Buffy musical is one of the best episodes of TV.
And it fit Buffy. Do you think it would fit here?
I mean, I don't know. If we're getting a fire ceremony with Misha, you know, maybe we smoke in some dope or whatever. It could happen.
Start tripping. Oh, do another animated. Do an animated musical. There you go. Combine some elements.
There you go. And then have the giant bear mask show up.
Lastly, Becky Trumbo. I've thought Marvin Gerard was against Red ever since the car bomb. It could easily be him. It could be either Weecha or Musa, though. There are also petite women who have access to Red's accounts and who could know more about Kaplan's Deary from his countless stories. Loved the Pixies. My husband's old band used to cover that song. That's kind of cool. I enjoyed the episode last week, and Amir nailed it like we knew he would. I'm glad Samar was there because Aram's dreams should include her. Some of ours, too. And they're heartbreaking together. The mental health aspect was good, and psychedelic therapy has been in the spotlight lately. I just wish they hadn't done the time loop or Aram and the mask, the Groundhog Day thing, as a typical latter season TV trope, and even Boy Meets World did the mask self thing. Our writers are good enough to come up with something original. I agree it is something we've seen before, but I still liked it.
I like the concept and the fact that they went back to the bear from the bear attack. At least it tied together.
Rawr.
The bear probably looked like that too, because all we saw was its paws.
Well, that's it, guys. We got 2 episodes left of this season, and that's going to conclude this discussion. So now is the time to recommend the Blacklist to your friend, your enemy, your neighbor. And please, when you do so, recommend that they listen and subscribe to the Blacklist Exposed podcast. All the case profiles can be found at blacklistexposed.com and everywhere great podcasts can be heard. And we've loved all the feedback we've gotten from you this season. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. 200 plus episodes of great content out there over at blacklistexposed.com. For more great Aaron and Troy hijinks, follow us on your favorite social media outlets. I'm at Troy Heinrichs. He's at Aaron Smirks on the Twitters. We are at the Blacklist GSM on the Twitter, or head over to the Facebook group and join in on the conversation over there. Big thanks for listening. It's always great to spend a weekend with all of you here in Blacklist land.
And don't forget to answer our profiling question. Are the sisters involved? Yes or no? It's a very simple yes or no question. Are the sisters involved? Yep,
yes or
there
no.
you go.
Team Aaron is yes. Team Troy is no.
Exactly.
Who do you
so
like
you can
more?
Answer that way.
This is a popularity poll, people. When you answer the question,
who do you like more?
We know who you like more.
I don't want to know the answer to that, probably. It'll just make me sad. Either way, because I'll be sad for you or I'll be sad for me. I'll just be sad.
Either way, I'll change the answer because you're not here next week. So,
you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. That's going to do it. We're out of here. Keep in mind, I'm right. Troy is wrong. Have a wonderful week. See you in a couple.
See ya. Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs. That's at Troy Heinrichs on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsiders.com or on Twitter at 5popcorn. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.